It's funny. I thought if you could hear me, I could hang on somehow. Silly me. Silly old doctor. When you wake up, you'll have a mum and a dad, and you won't even remember me. Well, you remember me a little. I'll be a story in your head. That's okay. We're all stories in the end. Just make it a good one, eh? Because it was, It was the best. The daft old man who stole a magic box and ran away. Did I ever tell you that I stole it? Well, I borrowed it. I was gonna take it back. Oh, that box, Amy. You'll dream about that box. It will never leave you. Big and little at the same time. Brand new and ancient, and the bluest blue ever. And the times we had, eh? Would have had. Never had. In your dreams, they'll still be there. The doctor and Amy Pond and the days that never came. The cracks are closing, but they can't close properly until I'm on the other side. I don't belong here anymore. I think I'll skip the rest of the rewind. I hate repeats. Live well. Love, Rory. Bye-bye, Pond. Okay then. That's what I'll do. I'll tell you a story. Can you hear them? All these people who lived in terror of you and your judgment. All these people whose ancestors devoted themselves, sacrificed themselves to you. Can you hear them singing? Oh, you like to think you're a god. But you're not a god. You're just a parasite eating out of jealousy and envy and longing for the lives of others. You feed on them, on the memory of love and loss and birth and death and joy and sadness and sorrow. So, come on then. Take mine. Take my memories. But I hope you've got a big appetite, because I have lived a long life and I have seen a few things. I walked away from the last great time war. I marked the passing of the Time Lords. I saw the birth of the universe, and I watched as time ran out moment by moment until nothing remained. No time, no space, just me. I walked in universes where the laws of physics were devised by the mind of a mad man. I've watched universes freeze and creations burn. I have seen things you wouldn't believe, and I have lost things you will never understand, and I know things. Secrets that must never be told, knowledge that must never be spoken, knowledge that will make parasite gods blaze. So come on then. Take it. Take it all, baby. You have it. You have it all. One death, one ripple, and history will change in a blink. The future will not be the world you know, the world you came from. The world you were created in won't exist. So neither will you. It's not just his life at stake, it's yours. You want to sacrifice yourself for this. You want me to sacrifice you. You want to call it. Do it now, all of you. Yeah, because sometimes this team structure isn't flat. It's mountainous, with me at the summit in the stratosphere, alone, left to choose. Save the poet, save the universe. Watch people burn now or tomorrow, because sometimes even I can't win. You just want cruelty to beget cruelty. You're not superior to the people who are cruel to you. You're just a whole bunch of new cruel people. A whole bunch of new cruel people being cruel to some other people who end up being cruel to you. The only way anyone can live in peace is if they're prepared to forgive. So why don't you break the cycle? What is it that you actually want? Because you might want war. Okay, yeah, you might want war. Okay, but when the war is over, when you have the homeland free from humans, what do you think it's going to be like? Do you know? Have you thought about it? Have you given it any consideration? Because you're pretty close to getting what you want. What's it going to be like? Paint me a picture. Are you going to live in houses? Do you want people to go to work? Will there be holidays? Oh, will there be music? Do you think people will be allowed to play violins? Who will make the violins? Well, oh, you don't actually know, do you? Because just like every other tantruming child in history, you don't actually know what you want. So let me ask you a question about this brave new world of yours. When you've killed all the bad guys, and when it's perfect and just and fair, when you have finally got it exactly the way you want it, what are you going to do with the people like you? The troublemakers. How are you going to protect your glorious revolution from the next one? And you might say, oh, because we'll win. And you might, maybe you will win. But nobody wins for long. The wheel just keeps turning. So come on, break the cycle. Because otherwise it just keeps on going and going and going, and it's almost like a game. But you want to know something? It's not a game. And right in front of you, these two boxes, right in front of you, you might look at this and think it's a game, but it's not. This is a scale model of war. Every war ever fought right there in front of you, because it's always the same. When you fire that first shot, no matter how right you feel, you have no idea who's going to die. You don't know whose children are going to have to scream and burn. How many hearts will be broken? How many lives shattered? How much blood will spill until everyone does what they were always going to have to do from the very beginning? Sit down and talk. Listen to me. I just want you to think. Do you know what thinking is? It's just a fancy word for changing your mind. And I really, really want you to change your mind, because if you don't change your mind, then you will die stupid. Alternatively, you could step away from that box and you could walk right out of that door, and you can stand your revolution down. And that might seem difficult. That might seem hard. You might think that you couldn't possibly do that, because then who'd forgive you? Who'd forgive you for starting this? Who'd forgive you for ending this? But you're all the same. You screaming kids, you know that, right? Look at me, I'm unforgivable. Well, here's the unforeseeable. I forgive you. After all you've done, I forgive you. And you might think that I don't understand. I don't understand. Really? Me? Are you kidding? Of course I understand. I mean, do you call this a war? This isn't a war, this funny little thing. I fought in a bigger war than you will ever know. I did worse things than you could ever imagine. And when I close my eyes, I can hear more screams than anyone could ever be able to count. And you know what you do with all that pain? Shall I tell you where you put it? You hold it tight till it burns your hand, and you say this: no one else will ever have to live like this. No one else will ever have to feel this pain. Not on my watch.